sheaves of grain for
Charlie Kirk's assassination shook the nation. But here's the question. Will this deepen our divides or finally bring Americans back together? Leaders from both sides say it's time for unity. Social media's role, violence in our communities. We face a choice. Stay divided or come together. Which way do we go? We unpack it on the Zebratruth podcast. Hello, folks. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Daily World Pod by Zebratruth. I'm your host, Thomas Smith. And today, we're unpacking the major but very sad story that has shaken up the supporters of freedom of speech all over the world. We're joined by our expert, Jane. Welcome to the show, and let's dive right in, shall we? All right, Jane, let's get our audience up to speed. The headlines have been everywhere. Charlie Kirk, conservative activist and founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed while speaking at Utah Valley University. The suspect, Tyler Robinson, was arrested after a 2-day manhunt, thanks to a tip from his own family and some solid forensic work. It's a story that's got everything: politics, tragedy, and a media frenzy.
That's pretty much the definition of a nightmare for democracy. Honestly, just think surveillance footage, Discord messages, his own dad recognizing him on TV. It's like a true crime show nobody wanted to watch. But what hit me hardest were those engraved bullet casings with anti-fascist slogans and memes. That's more than just violence. It's a statement. Twisted as it island, this has ignited fierce discussion on political violence, law enforcement, and social media's role in spreading graphic content. Leaders from all sides urge unity in civil discourse, while France considers the first bold measures to protect youth by banning their access to all social platforms. The incident underscores America's deep partisan divides and raises urgent questions about public safety and digital responsibility.
Yeah, and the aftermath has been wild. Leaders from both sides condemned the killing, and even flags went to half-staff. It was announced a posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom for Kirk. Meanwhile, social media just exploded. Some people mourning, others, honestly, celebrating. That level of polarization is chilling.
It's bananas. I mean, some are trying to politicize the tragedy, and they didn't mince words. But even that sparked a new wave of outrage online. I almost wonder if, at this point, the internet is designed to make every tragedy a battleground.
You know, that actually sets us up for the next piece, how law enforcement and social media shaped this whole response. Let's break down what really went right and what went off the rails. There's no denying law enforcement acted fast. 36 hours from shooting to arrest is impressive. FBI even gave that emotional, almost cinematic tribute. Rest now, brother, we have the watch. But Jane, was this a slam dunk or more complicated than it seems?
Honestly, I think it's both. The teamwork between local cops, the FBI, even the family, and a youth pastor, that's wild. But the communication? Kind of a mess. There were conflicting reports, leaks, even accidental misinformation on social media. It's a reminder. Moving fast is good, but not if people stop trusting the process.
And it's not just about speed, right? The arrest relied on digital evidence, Discord messages, rooftop footage, and Robinson's family stepping up. Imagine if they hadn't. Would we even have a suspect right now?
That's the scary part. It shows gaps in proactive security. Like, why did it take a dad scrolling Twitter to make the connection? Plus, the case got super political, super fast. Some folks are asking if the FBI was truly impartial, since Kirk had close connections with them. That kind of doubt can fuel conspiracy theories for months.
And just like that, we're right back at the core issue: how politics, tech, and justice collide, sometimes with more heat than light. Let's zoom out and talk about what this says about our society and democracy. So, Jane, it almost feels like this tragedy is more than a crime. It's a harsh allegory for where we're at as a society. Kirk became both a martyr and a lightning rod in a matter of hours. What does it say about democracy today when a shooting becomes just another front in the culture war?
It's honestly heartbreaking. Look at the bullet casings covered in left-wing slogans. The symbolism is brutal, but it's a wake-up call. When political debate turns into dehumanization, violence stops being unthinkable. Extremism isn't just some abstract threat. It has real, bloody consequences. And both sides rush to claim the narrative, instead of asking, how did we get here?
Right. And there are no heroes in how the conversation unfolded. It's this never-ending cycle of blame and defensiveness for both main sides, as usual. As if they are not learning anything from this sad event. But what if, instead, We hit pause and asked, what's the actual cost to our hearts, our communities, and to our democracy?
Exactly. It's easy to retweet outrage, harder to sit with someone you disagree with and listen. The sad truth is, unless we start doing that, finding empathy over ideology, we're just teeing ourselves up for more tragedy. Maybe this is a chance to do better, if we're willing to take it.
Funny you mention that, because a big part of the fallout has also been around social media's role, not just in the crime, but in how we process and react to it. Ready to talk about online platforms and the push for new rules? The man in charge in Utah straight up called social media a cancer this week, urging people to log off after violent videos went viral. At the same time, France is looking to ban social media for anyone under 15 and even hold parents accountable. That's a pretty radical shift, right?
Wild, but maybe overdue. The French report showed algorithms push the most toxic stuff right to the top, especially for teens. They even want digital curfews for 15, 18-year-olds. I mean, part of me wonders if that's too strict, but the data about mental health impacts is real. TikTok and others really are changing the way young people see the world, for better or worse, and probably mostly for worse. That is not the world we want our children to live in.
It's a tough balance, though. On one hand, you want to protect kids from doom scrolling, violence, and hate. On the other, cutting them off could limit freedom of speech or just drive things underground or even make these platforms even more attractive. Plus, there's the whole question of free speech and who gets to decide what's toxic.
Totally. And while the plea to touch grass sounds like a meme, it's not bad advice. We really aren't built to process endless tragedy on our phones. Maybe it's less about total bans and more about digital literacy, teaching young people to question what they see, to take breaks, and to actually talk to real humans once in a while.
And speaking of talking, let's wrap things up with some takeaways. If you had to give our listeners one big question to chew on, what would it be? All right, so we've covered the tragedy, the investigation, the fallout, and the big mess of social media. What's the core lesson you hope young people take away from all this, especially those scrolling through TikTok and catching only the hottest takes?
If I had to put it in a tweet, don't let outrage set your brain on fire. Dig deeper, ask questions, and seriously try listening to people you don't agree with. The loudest voices online are rarely the wisest. Real change happens in messy, honest conversations, not in comment sections.
Love that. For me, it's all about the power we have, both to create division and to build bridges. Democracy isn't just about voting or arguing online. It's about the small ways we choose empathy, even when it's hard. What's holding us back from that, and what would happen if we tried?
And if all else fails, just remember, the internet lasts forever, but so do the consequences of what we say and do. Let's make sure we're proud of both. Here's to more drama, more dialogue, and never settling for the easy narrative.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. Thanks to everyone for listening to the Daily World Pod by Zebratruth. If you learned something or even just got a little fired up, share the episode, subscribe, and stay tuned. Head to zebratruth.com for more, and don't forget to download the app. Let's keep the conversation going on and offline. See you next time.